Coming to the podium first is champions out of the 7th region, the Ballard Bruins, their head coach, Chris Renner. He's going to be joined by number 2, Kennedy Hayden, and number 31, Maker Barr. To the media on this call, reminder that you need to send all questions to chat. We are monitoring that. We will relay it to the coach or student athletes. Just say who you'd like that addressed to. And we will go ahead and start with an opening statement from Coach Renner. Is this kind of how you drew it up, kind of what you expected going in? You kind of had an idea of the personnel for the other team. Did it live up to the billing?
I'm glad I'm on blood pressure medicine because I tell you what, with what happened in 2013 to Madison Central, I wasn't taking any lead at the end for granted. I just thought that, man, our guys came to play. We've gotten so much better through the course of the season. The little details the guys are getting better at. Had some great stretches today, had some breakdowns. Madison Central is a great basketball team to win the 11th region, to beat who they beat, to be extremely well coached. So, I just we're thrilled to be moving on, that's for sure, but have so much respect for them as a program, and just glad that we've got a next game.
Kind of seemed like the typical postseason game where, you have a fairly comfortable lead, but they've had that magic coming into it. And all of a sudden it started feeling like, here it comes again. Were you sensing that on the sideline?
Oh yeah. Definitely scared to death. I hope with the mascot, it kind of helps my speech a little bit, but in terms of the eyes, I hope they couldn't read that. But, for us, our season got started late with Jefferson County making the decision they did. And I'm so glad that they allowed us to play. It put us behind 4 to 6 weeks behind everybody else. Coach Feldhaus was great about giving me advice on how to handle it. I called him up since they got started, and he was really helpful in whether we should play games or practice. And, we've had 20 plus wins for the last 22 years. Wasn't sure we were going to get to the 20 this year because we weren't going to probably play enough games. And so to be here today, getting our 20th win in this shortened season is remarkable. What these two guys here have done and what our basketball team has done, how they bought in, worked hard, and it's incredible what this group of guys has done.
This question is from Jared Peck, the Lexington Herald leader. What was the key to holding down Madison Central's field goal percentage? They've been shooting lights out, and then tonight.
I'd like to say it's our defense. And I do think part of it was our defense. But at the same time, sometimes there's luck. Sometimes teams have a bad shooting night. Our guys knew that they were a great shooting team. And so we knew we had to respect them from the perimeter. We felt like if we could extend our guards and wings on the perimeter defensively, we had our big fella down there to maybe alter some shots and block the shots. And so I think that helped, obviously, for us to hold them to a low percentage.
Jason Frakes. Coach, can you describe how much you've seen Keno grow as a player this season?
Figures Frakes would ask me a question about Keno. Keno's been unbelievable. He didn't get much experience last year. He had to deal with sickness and injury, and we see the potential. We saw the potential, and Keno has just grown tremendously. I did yell at you today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there doesn't go a day where I don't yell at Keno, but I told him from day one, it's all with love. I said, when I quit yelling at you and getting on you, then I don't care anymore, and I've given up, and that's why I yell at him all the time. And he has responded. The plays that he's making, he's worked on his game to get better in all aspects of it. He's understanding the game of basketball, and I thought he was phenomenal today, except for a few possessions.
For Maker, it seems like you were comfortable in this big stage out here, Rupp Arena, making the state tournament. It's the biggest event in our state for high school basketball. Just explain to the people, how you felt being able to get out here and show out in front of the fans.
I feel good. Before we came here, I think I've been with Coach Tim, and he told me about the rep, and I was said to be like, a lot of fun. It's like different environment here, so it's like you need to get ready for that situation. So I think I'm prepared for that. So.
Same for you, Kennedy. You came out, got to play in the state tournament. Just describe the feelings that go through you, and especially when you think about this wasn't your last game. You get to come back Friday, and there's more basketball.
It feels good. Playing in Kentucky. There's a lot of fans, a different environment. So it's always good to play at a different place, especially Kentucky.
This is from Jason. Just kind of piggybacking on that question. Can you describe for both players what it was like to play on this stage for the first time?
It at first it was kind of scary, nervous. Coach Renner told us it's gonna be like that, but during warmups it kind of helped us lose the jitters, and then hitting a couple shots early that helped too.
I think the difference coming to play when you step in the arena, it's kind of different. Like if you look at the arena, you feel like this is way different than a high school coach.
And to add to some things, I mean, the guys were able to get out there and get their jitters out a little bit. The warm-ups help. We see with Maker, I mean, he just controlled the glass today, was huge for us. You see how unselfish he is. I mean, there's a bunch of times he's got the ball in the paint, and it's not that he can't score. He says, throw me the ball and I'll find you guys. And I got to keep hitting him in the head to try and get him with some of those possessions down low to be more selfish. A lot of players, you don't have to get to be selfish. That's a natural tendency. With him, he is so unselfish. We need him to be a little more selfish when he's got those one-on-one opportunities.
Jason, again, Chris, what do you recall from the regular season meeting with Bowling Green?
Well, you've got a state championship coach and a state championship program. You've got Division I talent, basketball, football. You've got just a great bench. I mean, this is going to be a matchup of two heavyweights. Bowling Green, we played really well against them, shot the ball extremely well. They were without Dingle, who's a big piece of their puzzle. So, we're going to look at that film, obviously, just like he will, and see the good and the bad. But when it comes down to it, this is going to be a really, really good battle come Friday.
Okay, it looks like we'll give a couple of seconds here for the chat. Anyone else have anything they'd like to submit? Go ahead and do that now. Yep, Troy Howe. He says to Coach Renner, who on Madison Central did your defense key on stopping?
It wasn't one player in particular. Brown started getting hot, and obviously was their leading scorer, but we just really, really wanted to try and focus on the guys who shoot that three ball so well. And we wanted to just try and make some of those other guys beat us. Again, we didn't do it perfectly, but we did it enough to win the game. Okay,
it looks like we're out of questions here, so I'm going to let you all go ahead and get relaxed and start getting ready for Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Okay. Oh, boy.
To those on the call, we'll have head coach Alan Feldhaus Jr. of Madison Central. He's on his way to the podium. He'll be joined by number 22, Kole Browne, and number 40, Will Hardin. As a reminder to the media on this Zoom conference, you do have permission to record. However, we have to trigger that on the system. We try to do that for everyone that comes in, but if you happen to see that you're not being allowed to, just send us a message in chat and they'll get it taken care of promptly. Now we're joined by coach and his players. Just a reminder to go ahead and get your questions queued up into the chat. We'll be monitoring it and relaying it to those with us here on the podium. Thank you. Thanks, Coach Feldhaus. It almost seemed like there at the end, some of that magic, it just wasn't over. And he had the whole place thinking, something could turn out of that. And just talk about that run at the end and then just the overall game. And just
we didn't lay down. I think 17, I think that's the most they had us down. And we didn't quit. I think we actually cut it back to 6 and had the ball one time. And if we could have got something to fall that time, maybe it'd be a different story. But we really struggled with their athleticism. We transition type buckets. Every time we'd miss Sisk and Hayden, we had no answer for them as far as them going to the rim. And that's what we were concerned about. Just their strength off the dribble. We had a hard time slowing them down. And of course, I've got some young kids out there, especially the Davis kid who's only a sophomore. And I said, it's a good lesson. It's a good lesson for you. That's where you need to be because the way you shoot the basketball. But every time he would go to drive, he'd get bumped, he'd get off balance. So kind of grown men compared to some kids out there at times tonight.
Michael Watkins from WBON TV to Coach Feldhaus. When Ballard was making the run in the third quarter and those shots that had been falling the last 2 weeks weren't, what were you telling the guys in the huddle?
Well, they had a lot to do with that. I mean, you don't get anything easy against them. And we still hit 9 threes, but our percentage wasn't as good. And that's because of them. I mean, there was always somebody there. They do a good job disrupting your offense. They do a good job of mixing it up between man and zone. And it's just hard to get any good looks against them with their athleticism and quickness. Of course, Chris does a great job too.
Jared Peck, Lexington Herald leader. This is for Kole or Will, whoever wants to jump in here. He just wants to know, how much did Barr change your approach going to the rim?
He definitely affects every shot, and I like to pump fake, and he stayed on his feet pretty well. It was hard getting him off the ground, and somebody that tall, it just affects every time you go to the basket. It's not as easy to stick one.
Any follow up?
I mean, he's just a great sized kid, hard to shoot over. Not going to shoot over him, but we tried our best.
This is for Kole. When you look back on this incredible run to the state tournament, what are you going to remember the most?
Just everybody just pinching in together and being a family. I've been here for 5 years. It's the best 5 years of my life. I love everybody on the team.
Jared Peck again. What was it about Ballard that was most different from the 11th region teams that you faced, Coach?
Well, it's what we were concerned about. Athleticism, they were comparable maybe to Frederick Douglass, but skill-wise, out of their perimeter players, a lot more skill on the Ballard sides, and that's what we really struggled with. We thought we might be able to play them some zone, but they were getting too many good looks there early in a basketball game. And of course, when they get you down, we're not gonna play zone. We got to go man. But I mean, the difference is we could not keep them away from the rim on transition. That's where we really struggled, was keeping them away from the rim on transition. I knew eventually we were going to hit some threes because I've got too many kids that can shoot it. But we had to work to get them off. We really had to work to get those threes off.
Keith Farmer, LEX18. He wants to know, for Coach, how important was it for you to get some of the young players this experience?
That's what we just talked about. Of course, those 3 seniors that played, Kole and Braden Ray, they've been with us for 5 years. We're really going to miss them, but we do have some pretty good young kids coming back. With started 2 sophomores and a junior. We've got some other sophomores that we think could really contribute next year. I'm just glad they got a taste of this, and I think everybody's enjoyed this week after winning the regional tournament. So we want. That's why I told them, it's kind of been since I've been there, like every 6 or 7 years, it seems, when we make it. I said I'd like to come back these next 2 years too, because we do have a pretty good nucleus coming back.
That's the last call for the chat. We're monitoring it for about 10 more seconds here. Last call if anyone has anything else for Coach or the players. This is Evan Dennison. Fair to say Ballard is the team to beat here after seeing it firsthand tonight. Just your opinion on that.
Well, that's what we just talked about. The way they ran through their regional tournament and nobody close to them. And that's the 7th region they're doing that in. So, but this bracket is loaded. Their next game will not be easy. Of course, I watched their game against Bowling Green the first time. They worked on Bowling Green pretty easily the first time they played them down there. But I would think they would have to be the favorite the rest of the tournament. But it won't be easy.
All right, well, guys, we'll let you get back to the locker
All right,
room.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you all so much.
All right.